What's up? I am muchellebyt, and if you've been watching me since the start of this year, you know that I have been decluttering, downsizing, minimizing all of the physical stuff in my life. When I think about what the total cost of all of the clothes, makeup, decor items, random stuff that I got rid of or donated, it would have been mental, to the point where like I don't want to think about it. It's just like, oh. Essentially in this video I want to talk about how decluttering my physical space has impacted how I approach money, and go through step by step how I have transformed my spending and my saving habits. So if we're going to talk about this step by step, the first thing that I would recommend you do if you want to really reevaluate your spending habits is go through some form of decluttering process. So I went through the KonMari process, as you guys know. I'll put a link to a playlist in the description. There are plenty of other ways to go about it. The reason why I recommend this is because once you have decluttered everything that you own and you're standing there looking at your kitchen and your lounge room that is filled with bags upon bags of all of the stuff that you've bought, I guarantee it'll trigger some sort of change in your head. So after I decluttered my physical space, I started to think about my spending more consciously. So I sort of just started to be conscious of how I actually felt when I was spending my money, and also how I felt after I had the item that I had bought. Spending consciously is something that you can do in a really practical way. So you could just set up a little table in like a notebook or in a spreadsheet, have a thing that you bought column, cost, how you felt when you bought it, and how buying that thing impacted you in the long run. So like the long-term effects of having bought that item. Did it make you feel super happy like still in a month's time, or was it like a very short-term like impulse win? To be clear, I didn't track my money like that. It was more just me paying attention and being more self-aware. But if one of your goals is to spend more intentionally, tracking your spendings and tracking how you felt versus those spendings is definitely going to get you on track. As it turned out, I felt incredibly guilty buying anything that brought me long-term happiness. I could spend up big on like cheaper clothes and not feel so guilty, but like heaven forbid I pay money for like online learning or experiences. So that was definitely my second just movement toward more intentional spending, being conscious of what I spent my money on and how I felt when I spent it. So from there, I've started to think about my values versus where my money goes. So that was me taking a step back and really having to think hard about, well, what is the most important to me in life, and where do I think my money should be going? What shouldn't I feel guilty spending money on, and what should I feel guilty spending money on? It wasn't like a one afternoon, let's plan this out. It was like I've been thinking about this and mulling it over in the back of my head for a long time. So I really tried to get clarity around what is the most important things to me and what makes me feel happiest, because that's the most important thing. So from there, I was like, okay, well, things that I value educating myself. I value spending time with friends and family, socializing over brunch, breakfast, dinner, all those things. I value being in new spaces, etc., etc. So then it was a matter of getting intentional about how I could invest my money in those areas, as opposed to investing my money in like Kmart homewares. No shade to Kmart homewares, because like God knows they're like top of the line, and expensive clothing, everything like that. So for me, I was like, I need to set up like sort of an unstructured budget, and what that meant was just like a few automatic bank transfers. So I put a lot of my money away into savings, because I have saving goals that bring me more towards what I value. I created an experiences account, so I have money that automatically goes into my experiences account. That way I kind of force myself to at the very least be saving to do cool things. So saving to go on holidays, saving to go on weekends away. If a music festival comes up, I don't feel like I have that automatic excuse of I don't have any money, because technically your life is just a string of experiences, so if you don't make them good ones. And of course, I have money that goes automatically towards bills, and the remainder of money I make a point not to feel guilty about spending on socializing and spending my money on things that are like gifts that keep on giving. So rather than refusing to go to like a new restaurant with friends because money, and then spending my money on cheap clothes or makeup that I don't use, I basically do the exact opposite, because one brings me a lot more happiness in the long term than the other. So those are some of the steps that I've taken towards spending more intentionally and thinking more consciously about where my money goes. There's a few other little things that I follow. I never buy something that I can't pay for in full. Probably the only exclusion from that is like buying a house, because that's a little bit tougher. I don't own a credit card and I don't plan on owning a credit card, and that's been embedded in me since I was younger. And something that I have mentioned in another one of my videos is that before I actually buy something, I like to put it on a wish list that just sits in Google Drive, leave it on there for like a week, and then only buy it if I'm still super keen after a week or so goes by. So that is how I have worked towards spending more intentionally. It's all still a journey for me, but I feel like I'm leaps and bounds ahead of where I was at the very start of the year. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any of your own tips or ideas on how to start spending more intentionally, definitely leave them in the comments down below. If you're interested, watch my KonMari series. I'll link that in the description as well. Follow me on Instagram if you want to. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you soon. To surround yourself with only the things that bring you joy to help you establish the life that you want. Choose what you want to keep,